What? 8 points. What are these 8 points? We're dying for this because that's my brain.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we've said this before, but it's a greeting, it's a greeting, it's a reading, it's a prayer, it's an introduction, it's a transitionary statement, it's a text, it's a conclusion, and then it's a call. I think that might be 9, but I'm not great with math. Okay, so I'll do them again. So I'll just describe what they are. So it's a greeting from me, assuming that everyone knows who you are. You're the fool. Assuming like, hey, by now you guys all podcast me, you know who I am. It's like, well, that's really counter mission. There's got to be tons of people in the room that don't know who you are. So to me, a greeting is like, hey, I'm Judah. Welcome to church home. It's my wife, Chelsea. We got 3 kids. Like I do this every single week in the church that I lead because I think that's called being a human being. Like getting up and being like, how are my people today? It's like, I don't think they're your people, they're God's. But anyways, you know what I mean? I have friends every week that are bringing friends, and I have friends that are in attendance that are like, I actually don't know this world at all, this church world. And so just saying, hey, I'm Judah, immediately levels the playing field. Like people that don't know who I am, which is a lot, are like, oh, cool, his name's Judah, he's married to this lady named Chelsea, a little bit of context. Hey, by the way, crazy game last night, the Raptors got it. Wow, Canada has won our national basketball. Just there you go. And people can connect with that. Instantly, they're like, wow, this person's normal. So I use sports, I use culture, all those things to connect in the greeting. From the greeting, I do the reading. This is my tradition. Not sure if it's effective, but my dad said if you don't say anything good, at least read scripture. So whatever comes after it, at least you read the Bible to people. So I start with reading the Bible, and then I do a prayer. The prayer, if you haven't prayed by then, it's probably too late. But the prayer is to let everybody in the room know that this is me asking God to help me speak through me to people, and so it's not a show. And then I do an introduction. The introduction, I used to write out word for word because it was that important to me. An introduction I used for the longest time, and I used to have a really early morning preaching. Jordan's here with his wife from Rhode Island, but we met at 5:55 a.m., me and like 10, 12 young guys, and we talked preaching. So I got them all starting their sermons with, have you ever? Just gave them that tool. Just start, have you ever? And then fill in the blank. Have you ever had a day where you didn't wear socks and your shoes smelled? Whatever it is. And immediately people in the room are either, even if they have it, they're like, that's kind of weird. Like, where's he going with this? Right? And the have you ever usually is random. Like, have you ever got a haircut and, it got under your shirt and you were itchy all day? And immediately everyone's like, wow, this doesn't sound like a sermon at all. This sounds like, and that's why I study stand-up comedians and that sort of thing because of timing and all that. And so I won't use have you ever tonight, but I used that for many, many years. Just a have you ever, it's easy. Now then I would write out word for word my introduction. Nothing worse than getting everybody on board, and then you have the inability to transition and connect to your point. Rich did a flawless transition last night. It was basically something like, and that's why it gets me thinking about our passage tonight in Matthew's God, because, and immediately you're like, oh, just make that simple connection. So but a lot of guys and gals will be like, oh man, I was at Dairy Queen, got a blizzard. How about the mini blizzards? Crazy, right? Like I got a nerd's blizzard. My tongue was like red all day. I totally forgot. How many of you ever had a blizzard? Yeah, blizzards for life, man. Hashtag blizzards, amazing. All right, John chapter 3 says, and here's how that reads to me. It reads like, dude, you wasted my time with that blizzard stuff, bro. Like, and by the way, if you're not funny, right, if that's not part of what you do, it's okay. Don't try to be, would be my advice. There is a thing where you can literally start your preaching by going, read John 3:16 and be like, John 3:16 is such a special, passage to me. And here's why. And just start into it.
Absolutely.
So this is what works for me. It's how my brain works. This is what works for Rich. It's how his brain works. But if you're going to tell a story, I would suggest you spend time and even try to write out your story word for word. And then one of the most important things in finessing a sermon is the transitionary statement, which I always write out word for word. I always